she laughed. Your job embarrasses me. I replied, all right. I'm a 32-year-old male, and this happened on a Thursday afternoon at exactly 3:14 p.m. I remember the time because my phone buzzed with a calendar reminder just as the words left her mouth. We were sitting at a small cafe in downtown Columbus, Ohio. It wasn't anything fancy, just a corner coffee shop with scratched wooden tables, the kind where students camp out with laptops and old men read the newspaper. Her name is Rachel. She's 29, works in corporate marketing, the kind of job where everyone dresses sharp and talks in buzzwords like synergy and brand alignment. We'd been dating for almost a year. Things had been good, or at least I thought they were. I'm a plumber. Been one since my dad taught me, then I got licensed, and now I run my own little business with two other guys, Mike and Devin. It's steady work, not glamorous, but honest. I clear about $84,000 a year after expenses. Enough to own my truck, pay my mortgage, and stash away for retirement. I never thought of it as embarrassing. But that day, while we were sipping lattes, she leaned back, crossed her arms and said it. Honestly, your job embarrasses me. I blinked. What? She gave this half smile, like she'd rehearsed the line. You know, plumber, it just doesn't fit the image. When I bring you to work events, people ask what you do, and when I say plumbing, they give me that look. Like, oh. She even imitated it, scrunching her face. Then she laughed. I stared at her. I didn't even get angry. I just said all right. That threw her off. She tilted her head. That's all you have to say. Yeah. I said, all right. Inside, my chest was tight, but I wasn't going to argue in a cafe. We finished our drinks in silence. She scrolled on her phone. I looked out the window at the traffic light blinking red, green, yellow. That was the first moment I realized maybe I didn't know this woman at all. Later that evening, 7:46 p.m., I got a text from her. Sorry if I sounded harsh. Just being honest. Love you. I typed back, appreciate the honesty. I didn't add love you back. That night I lay in bed staring at the ceiling fan spinning slow circles. My mind replayed every work party, every time she'd hesitated to introduce me. Like last month, when her coworker asked, so what do you do? And she answered, he runs his own business, without saying what kind. I thought she was just being casual. Now I saw it different. The next morning, Friday, at 6:32 a.m., my phone buzzed again. This time, it was Mike. He said, bro, you won't believe this. Someone called the shop asking if you were available for a side job, fixing a water heater, but they were kinda rude, asking if you even knew what you were doing. Who was it? I asked. Didn't leave a name, he said. Number was blocked. I brushed it off, but something felt off. That night, Rachel invited me to a dinner party with her colleagues. Against my gut feeling, I went. We arrived at this sleek apartment with floor-to-ceiling windows. Everyone was in suits and dresses, the kind of crowd that talks about stock options and weekend trips to Napa. I was in a button-down and clean jeans. Not fancy, but neat. At one point, a guy named Brandon clinked his glass and said, so Rachel tells us you're in home services. He smirked. I looked at her. She wouldn't meet my eyes. Yeah, I said calmly. I'm a plumber. Been doing it 12 years. Own my company. The room went quiet for a second. Then someone coughed. Rachel laughed nervously. On the drive home, she exploded. Why would you say plumber? Couldn't you just say contractor or small business owner? Why do you have to make it sound so low class? I gripped the steering wheel. Because that's what I am. A plumber. And I'm not ashamed of it. Well, I am, she snapped. That cut deep. I didn't respond. We drove the rest of the way in silence. Saturday morning, I woke up determined. If she thought my work was embarrassing, maybe she needed to see what it really meant. I told her, come with me today. Ride along. See what I actually do. She rolled her eyes. I have better things to do. So I went alone. Fixed a busted pipe at Mrs. Henderson's place. She's 78, widowed, lives in a little brick house. When I was done, she pressed $20 extra into my hand. For you, honey. Always so kind. Driving back, I thought this is dignity. Helping people. Earning an honest living. Sunday night, Rachel came over. She sat on my couch, scrolling through Instagram, barely talking. Finally she said, look, maybe we should take a break. I nodded. All right. Her eyes widened. That's it. You're not going to fight for me. I shook my head. Not if you're embarrassed by me. She left in a huff, slamming the door. Monday 9:17 a.m. I got a call from my bank. Someone had tried to access my business account online. Wrong password attempts flagged it. They froze the account for security. I asked how. The banker said, it was from an IP address linked to your girlfriend's name. My stomach dropped. I called Rachel. Did you just try to log into my account? She went silent for a beat, then said, I was just checking. I thought you were hiding money. Hiding money? I repeated. Yeah, she said, because no plumber makes that much. You must be lying. I hung up. That night, I printed my tax returns, invoices, everything, proof. I wasn't lying. I put them in a folder. Next day I met with my buddy Mark, a lawyer I've known since high school. Showed him the folder. He whistled. Man, she could have gotten you in real trouble if she'd guessed the password right. This is serious. Keep every record. That's when I started documenting everything. Every text, every call, every time she showed up uninvited. Because it got worse. Wednesday, 4:52 p.m., she came to my shop. Mike called me, whispering, Rachel's here. She's yelling in the lobby, saying you're cheating on her. I rushed over, found her standing there, red-faced, waving her phone. I know you're seeing someone else. She screamed. What are you talking about? I asked. She shoved her screen at me. It was a photo of me unloading supplies with Devin. She'd zoomed in on Devin's sister, who had stopped by with coffee. That's your girlfriend, isn't it? I laughed in disbelief. That's Devin's sister, Claire. Rachel's face fell. She muttered something and stormed out. By then, even Mike and Devin were shaking their heads. Dude, she's lost it, Mike said. But it didn't stop. Thursday night, I got an email from a blocked address. Subject line, your dirty secret. Inside was a badly written message, claiming I did illegal side jobs and tax fraud. Attached was a grainy photo of me carrying tools. I forwarded it to Mark, my lawyer friend. He called me back immediately. She's trying to build a case. Don't worry, this stuff is garbage, but keep it all. That weekend, I finally blocked her number, but then she showed up at my house, banging on the door at midnight. My neighbor, Mr. Thompson, came out in his robe and shouted, "Call the cops, son." I did. Officers showed up, took her statement, and told her to leave. When they asked if I wanted to press charges for harassment, I said not yet. But inside, I knew this wasn't over, because Rachel wasn't just embarrassed by me anymore. She was out to destroy me. After that night with the cops, I thought Rachel might finally back off. But nope. If anything, she doubled down. 2 days later, at exactly 11:23 a.m., on a Monday, I was at a client's house, fixing a sump pump, when my phone buzzed. It was Devin. His voice was tense. Bro, you won't believe this. Someone just called pretending to be from the IRS. They wanted me to fax over your financial records. Said it was urgent. My gut clenched. That was her, I said. Devin sighed. Man, you need to get a restraining order. That afternoon, I met Mark again, the lawyer friend. I showed him all the new evidence. Texts. The fake IRS call. The harassing emails. He leaned back in his chair. We've got enough. File for a restraining order. And while you're at it, freeze all credit in your name. I've seen people like her open accounts under someone else just to mess them up. So I did. Locked down my credit. Filed for the restraining order. The judge granted a temporary one, pending a full hearing. Rachel didn't take it well. She showed up again, this time outside my shop, holding a sign that said liar in big red letters. She stood there at 2:14 p.m. on a Tuesday, screaming at customers walking in. Mike called the police. They escorted her away. I felt humiliated, but not because of my job, because I'd ever let someone like her into my life. The following week, I started piecing together her motives. That's when I discovered twist number one. Mark did some digging. Turns out, Rachel was in deep credit card debt. Over $32,000. She'd been hiding it by shuffling balances around. Her plan, she wanted access to my accounts. She thought plumbers don't make real money, so I had to be hiding something. She figured if she dug hard enough, she'd find a secret stash to bail herself out. That made me furious. Not sad anymore. Furious. So I changed strategy. I wasn't just defending myself now. I was documenting every single attempt of hers to drag me down. A week later, she tried again, sent an anonymous tip to the Better Business Bureau, claiming I overcharged elderly clients. Luckily, Miss Henderson, the sweet widow I'd helped, wrote me a glowing letter of support. I submitted it as evidence. Case closed. But she didn't stop. She even showed up at one of Rachel's own work events. Yeah, ironic, claiming I was harassing her. A coworker later emailed me, saying she'd embarrassed herself completely, shouting in the lobby until security escorted her out. By this point, people around me were fed up. My neighbor Mr. Thompson started keeping a notebook, writing down every time her car drove by my house. Mike installed a new security camera at the shop. Even Devin's sister Claire remembered the one Rachel accused me of dating, said, "She's unhinged. You need to bury her legally." So I did. At the full hearing for the restraining order, I showed the judge everything: the attempted bank login, the fake IRS call, the emails, the BBB complaint, even screenshots from her social media, where she'd posted vague rants about liars with dirty jobs. Rachel showed up with no lawyer, just a folder of random screenshots. At one point she shouted, "He's hiding money. No plumber makes that much." The judge raised an eyebrow and said, "Ma'am, running a successful trade business can absolutely provide that income. Do you have evidence of misconduct?" She stammered. "Well, no, but..." The judge cut her off. Restraining order granted. 1 year. You are not to contact him by phone, email, in person, or through third parties. I exhaled for the first time in weeks. But here's twist number 2. The consequences didn't stop at the restraining order. Her company found out. One of her coworkers, who had been at the dinner party where she mocked me, saw the court docket and reported it to HR. Within 2 weeks, Rachel was suspended. A month later, fired. Corporate marketing doesn't keep people who show up in court screaming about plumbers. Meanwhile, my business actually boomed. Funny enough, some of her ex-colleagues ended up calling me for plumbing work. One guy, Peter, even said, "Honestly, you handled yourself with more class than she ever did." And it wasn't just business. Personally, I started feeling lighter. No more midnight door banging. No more fake emails. No more embarrassment. Fast forward 3 months. I'm at a job site, installing a new water heater. My phone buzzes. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, but curiosity got me. A voice whispered, "I'm sorry." It was Rachel. I didn't say a word, just hung up. Then I forwarded the call log to Mark. He filed a violation report. She got fined $500 for breaking the restraining order. That was the final nail. 6 months later, she moved out of Columbus entirely. Word is, she went back to live with her parents in Indiana. Last I heard, she was working part-time retail, still drowning in debt. And me, business is thriving. We expanded, hired a 3rd truck. I even started dating again, this time a woman named Laura, who works as a nurse. First time I told her I was a plumber, she grinned and said, "Perfect. I'll keep people alive, you'll keep the toilets alive." Teamwork. That's when I knew she was the opposite of Rachel. Looking back, the most ironic part is Rachel laughing in that cafe saying my job embarrassed her, because in the end it wasn't my job that ruined her life. It was her obsession with appearances, her lies, her desperation. Reddit. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this: dignity isn't about the label on your business card, it's about how you carry yourself when someone tries to tear you down. And I carried myself with an alright. Thanks for following this journey. Edit. For those asking, yes, I still have the folder of evidence. Mark jokes that we could teach a seminar called How Not to Tank Your Life. Edit 2. A few people wondered if Rachel ever tried to apologize again. Nope. Just that one call. After the fine, she vanished from my orbit completely. Honestly, best outcome possible. P.S. Rachel, if you're somehow reading this, you once laughed that plumbing embarrassed you. Funny thing, my work built me a life, and your laughter built you a restraining order. Sounds like consequence.